green-white hexproof deck with splashing red for Boros Charms.
It's got a combo feel to it.
Yep.
You can gore plane your dude and Boros Charm it.
Alright guys, so round 4 action, both these players are in there winning in. 2 1-1 might make it, but 2 and 2 definitely won't, so you've got Chad Watson on the right, or Cass Watson on the right. He's playing Brave Naya, which is basically a green-white aggro deck splashing red for Boros Charms, I believe. And his opponent is Scotty Wright, who is playing blue-white control, so this is an Elixir Aetherling Elspeth deck. I do not believe he is playing any black cards.
He might have some Scrylands, but
yeah,
probably not black cards. Very good start for Chad.
Yeah. Normally here you think Scotty was sitting on Azorius Charm, but with that Voice of Resurgence, this seems unlikely. Unless he's playing the long game and planning on charming for tempo and then just verdicting later. Even the Essence Scatter in his hand isn't that good.
And if he has Last Breath, I mean, the benefit to running blue-white over Esper is you get Last Breath, which deals with problem cards like Chandra's Phoenix and his Resurgence. We do see the Azorius Charm.
Azorius Charm.
Full art promo Brave the Elements.
Thwarted with Brave the Elements.
The most beautiful of Brave the Elements.
Brave the Elements is one of those cards that I think gets played infrequently enough and has enough text on it that you probably should be able to read it. It's like not quite as bad as Cryptic Command, but not quite as obvious as Lightning Bolt.
Right.
So it does look cool though.
There's Last Breath.
Last Breath. That will get around.
Has already been done.
Yep. There's already an Evan Irwin token in play.
Big old head.
Scotty is at, I'm getting Facebooks. I'll make sure I put that directly by the microphone.
Four ball, so no creature on Chad's side, or he would have played pre-combat. Could have a Boon Satyr here, which would be a good reason for the hesitation. I think you still want to just play it in a turn.
Scotty's missing lands here, right?
Scotty has not. Chad just missed his first.
Okay. So Scotty's sitting on the Essence Scatter, which would be fine for the Boon Satyr, but it will tap Scotty effectively out. So we're waiting on Scotty here to decide what he wants to do. Surprise, surprise.
Well, it is turn 4. There are a lot of complex decisions. He clearly doesn't have a land, or else he would have gotten step 1 out of the way. Oh my god.
He played a land and pass back?
Yes.
Classic Scotty.
Plays the Meter Vault. So
I guess
if he can get this, there's not really a spell that gets the Soldier off the board because you can't Azorius Charm it.
Right.
You can Last Breath it, and if his plan is to Last Breath and then block the Voice token.
It's pretty good. I think basically what he was doing was deciding to sit back on the Essence Scatter or Verdict this turn.
Yeah.
The Verdict this turn seems a little bit unnecessary, especially since Chad seems willing to play into it. Now, this is very weird to me. Why you would do that thing, knowing that you're going to Verdict next turn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Chad.
Safe.
Well, Chad's deck is a Boros Charm deck, so I guess it's not as safe against, as if you were playing against just a green-white deck. But
Chad just did pass the turn back with red-white up last turn, so representing Boros Charm last turn. Probably smart to play around with on Scotty's part. these are both white creatures, so. But Brave the Elements isn't going to help. Boros Charm would have basically stun rained Scotty there, but Chad opting not to.
Does he have one in play? Oh, it's Boros Charm, you said.
Yeah. Because Brave the Elements won't do anything there since Mutavault's colorless.
Well, he's got a D-Sphere in hand, which would allow him to permanently deal with that token, but he's sandbagging this Verdict.
Yeah, and Chad must have Boros Charm. Like, he didn't play a Boon Satyr last turn. He played a tapped Temple Garden this turn, so there's no Boon Satyr in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
So D-Sphere for the token.
You know, at this point, if you have the Boros Charm, I think you just go up top with it. I mean, Scotty's at 8. Chad's still with a lot of cards in hand. Yeah, I think I would just burn him at the end of turn when he's tapped out.
Double Boros Charm after thinking about it for a minute.
I was afraid that we would go one stream without people talking about lands in front, but luckily the chat has devolved into that. So we're shocking ourselves here.
Remaz with the Boros Charm still up, so clearly he has it. Or he's selling it very well.
Yeah, I mean, I see it in his hand, but yeah, forcing you to have it.
Game.
No, he's still fine. He's only going to get in for 4 here. Scotty scrying here. I think he's got a divination and a
Chad's on the
divination and a Mutavault in his hand.
if Chad is on the Brad Nelson's Brave Naya deck, then he has Gore Playing Invaders on his deck too.
Mm. So that capable of very aggressive draws. In this case, I mean, Scotty's played around with that Boros Charm as best he could, but he just never really had an opportunity to effectively answer it. Chad played almost to a fault. Chad played with it, leaving it up.
Scries to the bottom, grabs a kitty cat, goes to town.
Should be good for 4. Dropping Scotty to 4. Scotty's needs another.
Void it.
Yep, this Verdict sticks.
Chad just had a land in hand.
Scotty, I'm not sure it matters, but wouldn't you not tap the Mutavault there? I don't think there's any flash things that were capable there, or haste or whatnot, but it still seems correct to leave the dude up.
Dry Militant and Divination is exiled. I will tell them.
No, he got it. He just told him.
Chad Watson on top of his game is.
He knows his own cards, which is more than most players. I mean, maybe you don't know what their cards do, but
We only say this, like, I wouldn't have said anything, but the straight blue-white deck could very easily play an Elixir of Immortality.
ooh,
There's the Cyclonic Rift.
that's pretty cool. No, the Cyclonic Rift is still in the graveyard. That was a pretty interesting play there. So Scotty baiting out the Gore Clan Rampager. He was willing to make the trade, but then Chad blood rushing his Gore Clan, which allowed Scotty an opportunity to get in a foil Cyclonic Rift. And there's the what? These decks play Azorius Keyrune.
This is the exact copy of the Adrian Sullivan list, obviously, because Adrian Sullivan played one Cyclonic Rift and one Azorius Keyrune deck. And he's the only person to do so.
So I don't mind. The Keyrune turns into a 2/1.
It turns into a 2/2 with flying, so it's very good against like the Domri. It's good against pressuring Elspeth. It can obviously just kill Jace if it comes down on -2s. It's just something there for the Planeswalkers, basically.
Seems fine.
And
It's
it
really-
obviously mana ramps you too.
Yeah, and there's also no real difference between that and the Rakdos Keyrune that the Gen decks used to play in Old Standard, simply because it gives you a
I
non-wrathable.
have them in my deck tonight.
The Rakdos Keyrune is much more aggressive, obviously.
So you want first strike.
Yeah, but this one has evasion. It does effectively answer Planeswalkers. You know, Mutavaults only go so far.
Well, and the ground is cluttered with Domri, so you can need the flyer to pressure Domri.
And Scotty, with that Cyclonic Rift, may have dug himself out of this. He's still struggling to find a hard win condition here, but he's got 2 blockers up.
Good. That's good for Scotty. Bad for America because this is an elixir deck.
Yeah. Well, the thing here, too, is it's also relevant that Scotty's current board, if he double blocks the Dryad Militant, he also doesn't die to Gore Clan. So this is interesting here. Scotty's almost obliged to double block, right? Yeah, and Scotty's a smart enough player to respect that. So this seems unnecessary because there's really no reason to have done the thing that Chad just did, right?
Which is what?
He gave his creature pro-white.
Yeah.
It just he gets his choice of what he wants to kill anyway.
Yeah.
So I think Chad just outthought himself there, basically throwing away a.
It is going to hurt him when everyone else comes out later.
Yeah. That is an altered card. I think it has a Stewie or a Meowth on it. It has a card that has a Fleeceman line.
Yeah, Fleeceman line, not sure.
Yep. So it's a 4/4 hexproof.
Indestructible.
So we're going to have to throw that Mutavault in front here. Just to stay alive here. And Scotty's going to need an Elspeth. He's going to need a Jace. He's going to need a Cyclonic Rift, which we know he doesn't have. Or a Verdict's not even good here, right?
No, because they're indestructible. This is known as the Kitty Abyss.
Now, here's an interesting thing. As Scotty draws a Detention Sphere, if Chad didn't have enough mana to cast and make that second one monstrous, it gets them both, right? Because it only targets the one, and then it checks all the other.
Everything with the same name.
That would have been fun to see.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. That would have been fun to see. Yeah, and at the very end, Nicholas Saban was like, I respect Nick's opinion. It's a fair question. And he was just like, yeah. Like, he wasn't involved at all. And that, of course, is a non sequitur. Back to the action here. Scotty starts off with the Temple of Enlightenment. Chad goes the same route, scrying to the top with his Temple of Abandon. As Scotty tries to win on the play here, tie back up, and more importantly, 26 minutes left in the game. Both these guys very deliberate players. Scotty fighting against the clock at this point too. Scotty Wright and Chad Watson
are the only.
Yes, and these two guys are the only people that in this situation with 26 minutes left in the round, I would say they gotta be mindful of the clock here.
It's questionable if we're going to finish this game.
So that was interesting. Was Scotty debating whether he's going to play that tapped or not? So I guess that telegraphs the dissolve, right? There's a Skylasher. Skylasher 2/1 flash cannot be countered, right?
2/2. 2/2 flash cannot be countered. Protection from blue.
Other than that, though, not very good in this matchup. It is a 2/2. Good grief. Grizzly Bears is still the card they printed. And this thing is Flash Grizzly Bear.
With reach.
It's a big insect.
Yeah. It keeps, whatever the flavor text is, it's something like, it keeps the people that spy on us out so we don't kill them.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So there's a Last Breath. Oh my.
Yeah, it still dies to Last Breath.
Mm-hmm. Why was... Oh, it's not... Yeah. I was wondering why it countered... why Brave the Elements didn't work. And that's because it's not a white creature.
Right.
That's interesting because Scotty could have rules lawyered there.
Yeah, it doesn't target. You can just cast Brave the Elements.
You can still cast Brave the Elements.
Run it in my mono green deck.
Yeah. But Scotty, not that severe in this situation. So, but he will get to play around that Brave the Elements for the rest of the game. So there's a Jace ticking it up. And then Boros Charm. Oh, that's aggressive. going after Scotty's life total here.
Chad is also not played a card at sorcery speed yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, this deck has a lot of flash and instants in it
It
for
has
being a
Advent,
green-based creature deck.
Did I say that loud enough for Scotty to hear?
Well,
Fleece Mane, that same altered one that looks like a squid. Repping the Bravionis that we know he has, and the Boros Charm, flipping over, was that 2 dissolves?
and 2 islands. It's 2 islands. Yes, 4 cards. It's 2 islands and a Dispel. Dispel, an interesting card because it's in there against the other Sphinx's Revelation decks, but you bring it in here because half of Chad's deck is instants, and they're the kind that if you counter them, that blows him way out because he plays a game to counter Supreme Verdict with Boros Charm, or to Brave so he can get through damage, or to cast an Advent, and you tap 1 mana and just wreck him.
Yeah. So Scotty taking the 2 islands, pushing the Dispel. I do have a funny story about that, though.
All right.
I was playing at an SCG Open one time, playing my green-black rock deck. Thought to use my opponent on turn 1. Looked at all the cards. Whoa, 8 cards. Judge!
It's too many.
I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that's 8. Let's call the judge.
It's too many. And there's an Elixir, which will serve to prolong this game. Does this deck play the Skylashers in the main, or they're all on the board?
I think those are in the board.
I couldn't imagine them being in the main.
Like the Tom Ross deck, the red-green deck, does play Skylashers main, but that was more of an invitational deck, where you expect a lot of blue-white and Esper.
So there was Chad. They kind of shortcutted there, but I think what happened is Chad you can't end of turn a Fleece Main line, but I think he cast Fleece Main line and tried to Monstrous it.
We Cyclone Cryptid it back and cracked our Elixir.
Yes.
Pretty good tempo play. Nothing says hello monstrous like good unsummon.
Fleece Main line is very hard to kill after it goes Monstrous, but if you have Elspeth, you don't need to kill it.
Right.
You just need to keep something in front of it.
It dies to Liliana, so I don't know what he's worried about.
No.
Verdict, D-Sphere,
Temple of Deceit.
Temple of Deceit.
And that black splash, not as important, because Scotty's just running that for scrying. That is not an actual. There's not an actual black card in this list anywhere. 20 minutes remain in the round. I'm pretty close here.
Uh-oh. How's that counter magic doing you now?
Get you. Scotty confirms at me. Chad says yes. If Chad is going to Boros Charm you down to 12, seems like he would probably Miscutter Hydra you down back to 13.
That has to be the best sideboard card right now, Miscutter Hydra.
It's very good.
How perfect was that? Because you know Scotty has to have a counter.
He has at least a Syncopate in his hand that I can see.
You just get to go all out, and he has haste. Like that.
It's a fireball.
There's no argument that that's the best sideboard card in Standard right now.
So Scotty serves in with the 4/4 Pro Blue, not Pro Blue. Can't be countered.
Miscutter Hydra is cannot be countered. Protection from blue.
Oh, it is Pro Blue.
Haste.
Everything is Pro Blue.
They really hate blue. They knew they made Sphinx's Revelation, and they had to get some way to fight it. The haste is very hidden on that card too. It's just like barely in there. You gotta look at it hard and tilt your head sideways to find it.
Miscutter Hydra has 1,000 abilities. Well, lucky he only got in for 3 that time.
Syncopate.
Syncopate on
The Fleece-Mane Lion.
Fleece-Mane Lion.
Rifted her a little bit earlier.
It does exile it. Not sure that matters,
Hey,
but
he got him in game 1 with the Drive Mode, and he's going to get him back with the Syncopate.
tit for tat. So Scotty, facing down a board state that's hard to deal with, facing down a sub 18-minute clock. Down a game to Chad.
Also, really doesn't have an answer to that in this Hydra. Like,
A verdict. Yep. There we go. Yeah.
The general answers from the blue-white deck are Line Obedience after sideboard, and of course Ratchet Bomb is very good against this Hydra because you stick it up in one influence.
So the J split there, Dispel, Temple of Enlightenment versus Elspeth. Elspeth seems like the perfect answer in this situation. So
The question is, because we've seen Trample from Chad's deck, do you make the soldiers or do you just kill the Miscutter Hydra? Because he's also been representing Boros for a while.
That's very interesting as well. Plus you gotta respect Gore Clan Rampager at some point.
Brave White. Can't do that.
Why can't he?
It's
Yes,
pro white.
Oh.
No, 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 no. The creature's pro-white. You can't target with Selesnya Charm. You could do that if you did it in the different circumstance.
Can't even. Oh, he's green. He's a green creature.
Yeah.
So the Brave. What are we doing here? We cast a Brave the Elements that literally did nothing.
It was that exact scenario we talked about earlier. I guess the miscut. Well, these are all sideboarded creatures, right? So these are both circumstances where, because all the main deck creatures are braveable. That's the reason it's in the deck. But when you bring in the sideboard cards,
Brave the Elements, pro white, Celestia Charm, Boros Charm. Would you like to go to blocks?
well, true. I mean, we did overstate that issue about the Selesnya Charm because it didn't matter. But at the same time, Chad so confidently cast it that I assume, of course, you can't.
Triple block it. Go to 1.
So does it get trample when you Selesnya Charm it?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here.
Okay, so it didn't matter.
Jesus Christ. This is the worst. If I was Scotty, I'd be so upset. Alright, well, Chad cobbles his way to a win there. He tried.
It doesn't matter if you limp across the finish line as long as you just get across.
Win is a win. So Chad moves to 3-1. He'll be in the top 8. Going to have to tighten his play up there a little bit, but he does make